Hello everybody and welcome to another session of English Foundational Language with myself, Bav, at Indigo Development. If you've been following our sessions so far, you will know the format. They're relatively short, we have a bit of fun, they're interactive. So I'll ask you to pause at various points and then come back where we explore the answer. The reason why I'm creating these and putting these out is because a number of people get in contact with me, drop me an email in my inbox, because they want to refine and upskill their English for everyday use. They want to develop it for lots of reasons. For many of you, English may be your second, your third, possibly your fourth language. And when you learn a new language, whilst you may know a lot of the basics, there are some elements that you may not know simply because they are country specific. So this is to help you in your speaking, your reading, your writing, and your listening. So let's get right into it. As always, here is an icebreaker. An icebreaker is used at the beginning of a session. It's supposed to be a bit of fun. There's no right or wrong answer, and it's supposed to generate a discussion. So if you are with someone now, family, friends, work colleagues, pause the video, have a discussion, and then come back to me. If you could have any superpower, which would you choose and why? Over to you. In this session, we're going to look at what I call SPaG. So SPaG is a phrase that's used quite common in the educational world in the United Kingdom. What we mean by this is spelling, punctuation, and grammar. I'm going to define each one and then we'll do 2 quick exercises. Now, in the previous session, if you've watched, we had looked at a writing exercise. I gave you an activity to do, and then we looked at 3 responses. And looking specifically at IELTS, and each response was given a band according to the IELTS marking criteria. I mentioned that SPaG, your spelling, your use of punctuation, and grammatical accuracy are really important. So let's just focus on this now. The S is spelling. What do we mean by spelling? You'll probably know, but let me just define it for everybody. It's how a word is written using the correct letters and order. Now, we learn spelling right from a young age. Regardless of what your first language is, if it's English or not, spelling is taught from a young age. So we learn to spell so many words over our lifetime. There are some words that even we as adults get wrong because they're just difficult. But usually, more often than not, we know the spellings of the vast majority of words. If you don't spell them correctly, there's a chance of misunderstanding or miscommunication. The P is punctuation. This is the use of symbols in writing to separate and clarify the meanings of words and sentences. So there are a range of symbols which you may well be familiar with, which are used in sentences to help separate and clarify the words and therefore the meaning. Here you see a range, there are more. Question mark. So if you write a question and so that the person who's reading it knows it's a question, you'd put a question mark. At the end of a sentence, you use what we call, in the United Kingdom, a full stop. Just to say, in American English, that's called a period. You've got exclamation marks, brackets, commas, colons, semicolon, inverted commas, ellipses, hyphen. Now, some of these are more common than others, like the full stop, the comma, the question mark, the exclamation mark. Semicolons, hyphens, ellipses are less so. But I just wanted to show you examples of punctuation. The G here is grammar. Now, how to put words together so that people can understand them when spoken or written. So grammar is how we put words together so that the sentence makes sense. when we say it or when we write it. I'll give you an example, the use of tenses. What I do today, what I will do tomorrow, what I had done yesterday requires a change in some of those words. If you confuse them, you confuse the meaning. So, grammar is about how we put words together so that the sentences make sense when they are spoken or written. Okay, much of that you will have probably known, SPaG. So when I mention SPaG now, I mean spelling, punctuation and grammar. I'm now going to do a short exercise with you. Here you see a sign on the beach that says alligators do not swim here. I want you to punctuate this sentence correctly because what the meaning should be is at the bottom. This sentence should warn people not to swim as it is not safe. However, alligators do not swim here without any punctuation gives a different meaning. Think about it. Pause the video, add the punctuation, have a conversation with someone and come back to me. Okay, let's see how you got on. Alligators do not swim here. And actually, the message should be that it's warning people not to swim as it's not safe. It reads, alligators, exclamation mark, do not swim here, exclamation mark. That now makes sense. That becomes the warning to people. Without the exclamation mark, it's saying alligators don't swim here. So telling people it is safe to swim. That's not what the message needs to be. Let's do another one. Punctuate this sentence correctly. She finds inspiration in cooking, her family and her dog. What the message actually needs to be is she finds inspiration in more than one thing. Pause the video, have a think, have a conversation, and then come back to me. Over to you. Okay, let's see how you got on. She finds inspiration in cooking, her family and her dog. Without any punctuation, the message we get is that she likes cooking, her family and her dog. That's not what we want. What we actually want is she finds inspiration in her cooking, comma, her family and her dog, full stop. She has three inspirations: cooking, her family and her dog. Without the comma and full stop, the meaning is very different. Okay, there's so many of these that I can do with you, but what I want to highlight is without correct punctuation, the meaning is lost, and then grammatically, it is inaccurate. Final one, let's eat grandma. Let's eat grandma. This time, I'm going to ask you to just put your answers in the comments below. Put in the correct punctuation so the meaning isn't we're going to eat grandma. As always, thank you for joining. I hope that's been a bit of fun. I hope you've learned something and continue to watch our sessions and keep feeding back because I will use that in subsequent sessions. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.